After passing two different versions of a new farm bill earlier this year, members of a House Senate Conference Committee now struggling to find common ground and therefore legislation to replace the expiring 2014 Farm Bill. It expires at the end of this month. President Donald Trump using a social media megaphone to address the situation last week, calling out Senator Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat from Michigan, just saying that the Dems are fighting tooth and nail to not allow our great farmers to get what they so richly deserve. Work requirements, he said, are imperative. And he's talking about tighter work requirements in the House version of the Farm Bill. In the nutrition program, the Senate doesn't have any of that at all. So right now, what do? Do you have tighter requirements or do you cave? That's what this conference committee is working on. And the chairman of the House Ag Committee is Mike Conaway. He's from Texas and says they can work out the differences between these two bills. But he says she's got to come to the table talking about Stabenow. And so far from his perspective, he said, I'm not getting that kind of negotiating out of her that gets us to a deal. Again, the 2014 Farm Bill is set to expire at the end of the month. Well, as much of the world is watching a trade war escalate between China and the United States, some countries are taking advantage of an opportunity to strike a deal with the Trump administration. U.S. has already renegotiated a deal with South Korea, one with Mexico, and working on others as well. And for the United Kingdom, there's a lot of support for a good trade deal with America, but only if they break cleanly from the European Union or EU. Boris Johnson is the former UK Foreign Secretary and telling reporters that the U.S., there is a lot of support in the U.S. for that approach, and there's a lot of people who really believe in their country. There is concern, however, from farmers and ranchers in Ireland. They currently supply 71% of the UK's beef. It's a market that U.S. cattlemen have wanted to participate in for a long time. Brexit, as it's known, is the exit out of the European Union. That happens on March 29th. Well, USDA offers financial assistance to farmers who implement a wide range of conservation practices through the EQIP program. That's the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. Conservation tillage practices include no-till, strip-till, row crop planting, mulch-till, and it can improve both the soil and the environment. Farmers who practice no-till plant crops without using any sort of plow to turn the residue from the prior crop into the soil. Strip tillage does disturb only the soil, though, within the planting row, and mulch tillage minimizes soil disturbance, distributing the crop residue. For 5 years, beginning in 2011, the prevalence of the contracts varied regionally. For example, share was relatively high in northern Dakota and northern Iowa, but lower in South Dakota. Why the variations? Well, the Economic Research Service at USDA suggests it could be regional differences, and it could just be the lack of knowledge by producers in those areas not using the programs. It will be addressed in the 2018 Farm Bill. That is, if both sides can come to an agreement on what that new bill will look like. And with another Ag News update, I'm Tony St. James.